Welcome to this. Welcome ASMpod को. Thank you first of all है सबैजनालाई first episode मन पराइदिएकोमा है. Just bullshit. it sucked. I know. But I'm happy because other thing, I have a very good friend of mine, Mr. Ashish Gurung from Resonance of Roots and from the Connection band, man. And उहाँको सङ्गीत र उहाँको गायन चाहिँ आहा. म के भनौँ, but I'm a fan. But I'm a fan. I'm really a fan. Connectionदेखि मैले खास सिसामा हामी सँगै ज्याम गरेको. Then Satish Dai would take over. So please welcome on the show, Ashish Gurung.
Thank you so much, Dai. Thank you so much. And
so I'll keep this somewhere here.
Okay.
And this doesn't feel lovey-dovey at all. Yeah. Just don't make eye contact. All right. So, Ashish, what's up, man? What's going on?
Everything's good, Dai. I've adapting to the modern times. Strange times, so adapting. They won't follow.
Is it good adapting or bad adapting?
So far, so good. You know, obviously, the last thing you can do is be negative right now. So, they positive हुँदै अगाडि बढ्दै.
लकडाउनभरि के गर्यो यार?
सुतियो, खाइयो, बस्यो, त्यही त हो दाइ घरमै. केही छैन काम.
That's good. It's good rest.
Good rest दाइ एकदम. Just अर्को वेमा फ्रेस पनि फिल भइरहेछ माइन्ड लाइक.
Right.
Kind of a vacation जुन आफूलाई फिल थाहै थिएन कि I needed that kind of thing.
I guess at least your टाइममा चाहिँ म्युजिकहरू पनि घर बसी पनि धेरै सुन्यो I guess.
Yes दाइ. सबभन्दा रमाइलो चाहिँ त्यही भयो. लाइक पहिला खासै म अनेस्टली भन्दा चाहिँ म त्यस्तो सुनिरहेको हुन्थेन कि म्युजिक. तर अहिले चाहिँ लाइक फेरि त्यो गेटिङ ब्याक टु द ह्याबिट अफ लिसनिङ टु सङ्ग्स. अनि यो लकडाउनभरि मैले तपाईँको एल्बम सब सुनेर बिग फ्यान थिएँ कसो. Brom still my favorite song.
Yes, thank you.
I love the lyrics.
Thank you. I didn't write it.
I know.
All right. See, this is why आज चाहिँ हाम्रो गफ चाहिँ we're gonna keep it around the UFC, right?
Yes. Why not?
When did you start following the UFC?
I think it was 2011. Late 2011 तिर होला I think. मेरो लाइक साथीहरू दाइहरू हेरेर हुन्थ्यो. त्यस्तो मलाई चाहिँ पहिला लाइक हाइलाइट नकआउटहरू त्यस्तोहरू हेरेर हुन्थेँ. अनि बिस्तारै इन्ट्रेस्ट हुँदै गयो. अनि आई used to train as a boxer as well. तर कहिले टुर्नामेन्ट खेल्न पाएन होइन.
You trained as a boxer?
Yeah.
From where?
Banu's gym. And the best thing was we had a 3-star coach. I think Nepal's only second guy. There are only 2 3-star coaches in Nepal, like international level. So yeah, it was a good learning experience. And त्यहाँबाट चाहिँ like the art हुन्छ नि, like sweet science of boxing and like striking को main चाहिँ म as a striking मा चाहिँ धेरै इन्ट्रेस्टेड थियो. अनि then jiu-jitsu ले चाहिँ completely.
When did you discover jiu-jitsu?
Jiu-jitsu I think UFC सँगै हो दाइ. अनि then अब त्यही हो रिसर्च गर्दै गइन्छ नि त आफ्नो. अनि early UFC days obviously होइस क्रेसी जुन वेमा उसले त्यो कन्कर गर्यो नि. अनि ओके सबले भन्न आउँथ्यो नि त फेरि जिजिटsu लाइक के चाहिँ रहेछ यो. अन्त फर्स्ट थिङ मैले त सुरुमा होइन बिजे चाहिँ देखेको थिएँ नि त. आई थट इट वाज लाइक समथिङ लाइक पोर्न. आई स्वेयर. किनभने त्यो एउटा मैले मिम देखेको थिएँ क्या. दिस मिम वाज लाइक एउटा केटी चाहिँ यस्तो स्याड भएर बसिरहेको थियो होइन. अनि केटा चाहिँ त्यो अब ल्यापटपमा अथवा उसको स्क्रिनमा मोनिटरमा यस्तो त्यो हुन्छ नि ड्रुल गरेर हेरेको थियो क्या. अनि पछाडि चाहिँ त्यो मिममा चाहिँ के थियो भने त्यो केटीले चाहिँ वेन यु बिन वेटिङ फर हाफ एन आवर बट यो बोयफ्रेन्ड इज बिजी हुन्छ नि इन इज बिजेजे वर्ल्ड त्यो थियो क्या. म चाहिँ वाट द फक इज बिजेजे. बिजेजे मैले त आई डोन्ट नो जब लाइक समथिङ जब द्याट ब्लोज बट विथ डबल जे. बट टर्न्स आउट टु बी लाइक हुन्छ नि वान द क्रुसियल फ्याक्टर हो युएफसी होइन. अनि वान अफ दोज मार्सल आर्ट जसले चाहिँ एउटा लिटल गाईको लागि होप ल्याइदिएको. लाइक पहिला अब देखिन्थ्यो नि त ब्रुसलीले अब प्रायः यस्तो फुच्यो भने क्या पिटिरहन्थ्यो नि त. बट त्यो त मुभीमा मात्र काम गर्छ नि त. अभियसली लाइक इफ अ गाई इज बिगर देन यु ही डेफिनेटली हेज सम एडभान्टेज. तर जिजिटsu वाज समथिङ डिफ्रेन्ट. लाइक
You can choke anyone out.
लाइक हो नि त लाइक नो वान यु वुडन्ट फिगर आउट वाट टु डु अन द ग्राउन्ड क्या. अनि जुन लेभलमा अनि अहिले अब बढ्दै गयो मिक्स मार्सल आर्टले गर्दा झन्. सो या
That's 100% one. मैले चाहिँ फर्स्ट टाइम मेरो हाम्रो स्पिरिट एक्सको बेसिस गौरव he went to the Philippines to study and then he came back bandman, then he would talk about George St. Pierre and stuff, right? But अब आफू त त्यति बेला हार्डको चेन ग्याङ No, I was so हामी त्यति बेला प्रो रेस्लिङहरू हेर्थ्यौँ नि त, we were not that much into UFC. अनि so I didn't, it was because of the earthquake. When the earthquake happened, मैले phone नयाँ किनेको थिएँ and I ended up downloading the UFC game.
I saw you actually त्यो leaderboard मा.
No.
The same game. I even fought with Alexander Gustafsson.
Yes, that was my player. Alexander Gustafsson.
मेरो पनि त्यही थियो, but like on a really low level, but I won. किनभने it's like
you can win that. It's you can figure that
game. Like,
it's a fantastic game. Fantastic. There's just the user experience in terms of जुन gaming techniques, जुन swiping techniques थियो नि त्यसमा, it was not tapping, that was the best thing.
Tapping was like jabs.
And minimum things that you could do. So that's how I started following UFCs from the game. And then came the Ronda Rousey era.
But I've always hated her.
But she was one dimensional.
Very one dimensional.
But she was very good in that one dimension.
एकदम बुली खालको लाग्थ्यो क्या honestly. Like not पछि गएर नि भनेको पहिलेदेखि मलाई एकदम बुली टाइपको पर्सन लाग्थ्यो क्या. Like she was kicking ass, बवाले थियो हैन. अब obviously judo Olympic levelको judo player हैन. तर she had this aura of being a bully.
Yeah.
Like calling everyone do nothing bitch and something like that.
Well, she had the aura of being a bitch herself. Yeah. She definitely was. Yeah. But I think that's what I liked.
She called wrestling fake.
And then she ended up in wrestling. No, I think usko I still remember when Dana White was asked, who do you think is the greatest draw? He said, I've never seen someone go into Brazil and the Brazilian people are chanting for the American. Like he said, I've never seen that. And that's Ronda Rousey versus Betchko.
The second was, not Brazil, but second was when Conor fought Eddie.
Yeah. New
York, and Eddie lives very close to, like, he's from there, around there. That everyone was cheering for Conor. And like even Joe Rogan was like, what the hell is happening? Like, after told like, but he had that hype around.
Conor was special.
He was.
He's still special.
He is actually.
He's still special.
He's like this one big draw, like Dana has still has like.
Uncle Dana. So talking
UFC
about
Vince McMahon.
UFC, yeah, he's exactly UFC Vince McMahon. He's exactly that. So, tell you, man, this is going well. So far, so good. We were talking about how, you got into boxing and then you started from there. Who was the guy? Was George St. Pierre the guy when you started watching?
No.
Brock?
Brock was there because Brock was on WWE. But I think सबभन्दा बेसी hype चाहिँ Silva गराउनमा थियो, Anderson Silva, because he was everywhere. And I remember the first मैले हेरेको like first highlights पनि उसकै थियो क्या, like his elbows from हुन्छ नि खेलिरहेको जस्तो तर next level striking. Okay, this is something else. That was Silva, Anderson Silva. And त्यसपछि when I got in, then it was GSP. उनीहरू पनि थियो, but GSP को चाहिँ म त्यस्तो साह्रो चाहिँ follow गर्दैन, because being a striker, like हुन्छ नि, being a striker, I used to prefer guys who were strikers. Silva. अनि Mirko Krokop, legendary मा चाहिँ
Mirko Krokop. त्यो अब
right kick symmetry, left kick. Left kick symmetry, right kick hospital. God damn.
त्यो he was it was shocking what happened to him in the UFC. He got Krokop.
Definitely.
He got
beaten in his own.
Gorzega, what was his name?
Gonzaga
was his name, yeah. Mirko Krokop.
But they were sleeping on Gonzaga actually. He was a good striker. But उसको credentials चाहिँ BJJ मा थियो. Like everyone knew this guy is like a Brazilian guy. So उनीहरूको त त्यो नेशनल स्पोर्ट जस्तै थियो नि त. So त्यसमा चाहिँ डरेर थियो क्या. अनि त्यही भएर नि म्याच गरिदिएको थियो. But
plus no USADA.
Yeah, no USADA. And it's not Japan. And that Mirko Krokop was like way older हुन्छ नि. पहिलाको त्यो stiff Krokop थिएन क्या. त्यो हुन्छ नि त्यो खड्डा खालको थिएन क्या. He was like book up already जस्तो भइसक्यो थियो बिचारा. It was because he was old. But I think that's one of the thing I don't like about UFC. हुन्छ नि like हुन त दे अहिले आएर त अब दे हेभ लाइक इग्नोर्ड सो मच होइन लाइक जस्तै बिजेपिएनले कतिसम्म लड्यो तर हि हेज सम क्रेडेन्सियल नि त उसको छ नि त ब्याकग्राउन्ड सो त्यो लड्यो तर आई थिङ्क त्यो बाहेक अहिले चाहिँ गरेन तर पहिला पहिला चाहिँ त्यो फिल हुन्थ्यो क्या बकरा बनाइदियो जस्तो क्या इफ समन बिग इज कमिङ लाइक वेन ब्रक लेसनर केम ऱ्यान्डी गटर वाज द बकरा क्या बिकज दे न्यू लाइक यो त लाइट हेभी वेट हो नि त but he was like shuffling around because he knew the market was good. It's like a stock market. Randy Gordon was the first guy I think who figured it out.
100%. Dana wanted to make Brock a draw from day one.
Yeah.
And he called in Frank Mir. Yeah. And the feud was great. Frank Mir to like Brock Lesnar.
It totally flipped. Like Dana wasn't interested in the Brock. Brock let the surprise attack just go there. Dana. The story goes like Brock Lesnar NFL को try गरे नि अनि when he got out
cut on the last day.
The
last cut.
But his credentials were like so good. Like सुनिरहेको थियो रे डेनाले but he wasn't interested because he's a pro wrestling guy, fake fighter like हुन्छ नि. And then I think it was in UFC event मै ठ्याक्क इभेन्ट सक्यो अनि डेना was about to go from his chair. Someone like he felt like a big trunk जस्तो हात रे यस्तो डेना it was Brock Lesnar क्या. But Dana was impressed like because Brock has apparently jumped off the security guys and like त्यसरी आएर रहेछ क्या अलि वाइल्ड तरिकाले. So Dana was like all right this guy is serious. So let's give it a try. Yeah.
I know that story. That and the Undertaker stare off story.
Oh yeah. But the stare off right. But I think that was it's still
No, he talked about it. Taker talked about it.
No, even Brock talked about it, but he was like he wasn't selling it.
No.
He wasn't selling the fact like it was like हुन्छ नि यो के भएको थियो जस्तो सेल गरेको थियो.
Taker said that he wanted to do that to get Brock back into wrestling.
Yeah, something I heard something like that. It was like for a future feud को एउटा उस गर्न.
So now that he's Mark Calloway नि त अब everybody हुन्छ नि अब so it's come out now. So he said in an interview कि he just did that because त्यो I think त्यति बेला चाहिँ was one of the first times that they were letting him out because they don't let him out to do public events.
Yeah, he's a very frustrated guy.
And त्यति बेला चाहिँ they let him out and he thought that if I wanted a big money match, if there's a big draw, this is the guy. And he said he was actually positioned there for a reason. Tora area Helvani came by coincidence.
He's always there. Oh God.
Bone.
No offense to Bounce.
I'm a Bone.
Oh, my friends are Bounce.
It's okay, we can say
it's okay. Actually, I would like to add on that point. Like, why do people get offended when they are called like Bound?
I don't know. I think
like,
it's
like नेवारलाई के भन्छ अनि लाइक हामीलाई पनि भन्छ गुरुङलाई पनि भन्छ हैन भेडे के भन्छ. But why do you get offended?
I think it's but it depends on your perspective of how you've grown up around that word. If it's used as something that you were...
It is actually mostly used to downgrade a person. There are stereotypes just to बनाइदिनु नि. Like,
I mean, if everybody... This is an old Dave Chappelle joke that says, if everybody gets to say everything that's on their mind, things might get a little... Morning! So that's why. It gets a little tricky. Brock Lesnar. Yeah, detour. Yeah, we took a detour. Yeah. No, Brock. If we go back, and we were talking about this, leading up to this was about Rickson Gracie. That guy, Nepal, there's limited resources about doing anything, right?
Yeah, true.
It's not thought of gyms, right? So it's not.
And I think only Kathmandu. I don't know. I haven't seen it. Like Kathmandu, I don't know. Like strictly BJJ school or but out of the usar चाहिँ छैन. जुन कुराहरु फेमस छ त्यो छ किकबक्सिङ छ, मुay thai छ. तर I don't know. MMA अब रेजमा ट्रेनिङ गरेर हुन्छ. But I haven't been there, so I can't speak. Right? But yeah, like you said. But I think it's blooming. Let's see.
Getting better
than before because UFC UFC जुन वेमा हुन्छ मार्केट लिडर्स नि त इन्टरनेसनल मार्केट त्यो वेले गर्दा नि अलि लाइक हार्डकोर फ्यानहरु चाहिँ रिसाइरहेको हुन्छ नि अहिले चाहिँ लाइक कमन फ्यान धेरै छ लाइक तर कमन ड्युड लाइक यु गेटिङ आइज एन्ड योर इयर्स अन इट आई मिन इजन्ट द्याट व्हाट यु वान्ट कि त लाइक डार्क डे चाहिँ ठिक थियो नि त अनि ब्रकको स्टोरीमा के दाइ दिस वान थिङ आई लर्न यस्टरडे व्हाइल मेकिङ नोट्स हि इज द ओन्ली गाई till now, who is a NCAA heavyweight champion, WWE heavyweight champion, and UFC heavyweight champion. And of the wrestling go in the NGP champion, like he's the only heavyweight champion who has like legit fixed fighting, fake two हिसाबले के real fighting man छ, amateur wrestling man छ, अनि अब त्यो stage fighting ma पनि छ के. He's like he's been champion everywhere.
100%. He's special.
Yeah, he is.
He's
once boy and Jack deal with.
Taz used to call him the vanilla gorilla.
Yeah.
No, Brock is once in a lifetime special.
Yeah, he
because I always remember is because we go into like back end of like wrestling, pro wrestling and stuff, right? Paul Heyman and stuff, right? I remember Paul Heyman once saying that in any other generation, someone like Roman Reigns would have been the number one guy, but it's unfortunate that he's in the generation of Brock Lesnar.
It's true. It is really true. Like there's no beating on that. Like how can you not sell, man? Like Brock Lesnar, I mean, wrestling follow one like what kind of beast he was on his prime, man. And UFC man dekhiyo, although he was on some supplements. But whatever, like, but he had some credentials, like athleticism, the way he used to spin around, to take down or you know, like he's a gorilla. He's really a gorilla, once in a lifetime. So let's cut off the Brock thing. Who do you think right now is a good star in UFC? In your eyes?
Before we cut off from Brock, I'll just say three things.
Okay.
I respect him because he wrestled Kurt Hennig, the late great Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig, at 33,000 feet on a plane.
Yeah.
I respect him, the plane ride from hell.
Plane ride from hell. The legendary plane.
I respect him also because he's not on social media. He actually lives that life of the outsider as well.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
Yeah. He's like, you know, Joe Rogan says best. If if we were still in medieval times, Brock Lesnar would be that big Viking guy who is coming to to rip your head off and maybe like fucking woman, like it's true. He's really a savage, and like the way he lives, like he just hunts. Yeah. He is never on social media. Like no one knows about off the grid. Like people only
Paul Heyman talks to him.
Yeah, only Paul Heyman talks to him, and I think so many people knew that Sable was his wife only when they saw in UFC. Yeah. Including me. What the fuck is Sable doing there? She's all haven't she like Vince? But anyways, yeah.
That's shocking.
But then then later I saw this interview, this badass promo he did, Brock Lesnar. It was an interview and he said like, yeah, I'm the youngest, but I think he was in WWE back then. He was like, yeah, I'm the youngest WWE champion, and I'm married to the world hottest girl. I've got it all. And in a way, it was
very true.
Yeah.
No, Brock. It's a blessing that Brock met Paul as well.
Yeah,
because
true.
I think they both led each other's careers.
It was Paul actually.
Brock says that you got to talk to my Jew.
Yeah, you got to talk to my Jew. Yeah.
The
chemistry they have from the day one, like
100%.
And even I think they are the only two guys who like still have that kayfabe thing.
Yeah.
When you meet them outside, when you see them on the interview, like how intense they are. Like Brock is always that Brock. Yeah. He's the same guy. Yeah. I think it's the way he is.
Yeah, it's good to be alive in the time when Brock is around.
Yeah, we are witnessing some
good shit.
Good shit.
That's good shit.
Fighting shit.
You asked me who do I think is the next star?
Yeah.
In terms of draw?
Yeah, you can say that because that's what like really counts in the end. Like obviously there's a factor of being a elite martial artist, but for a common eye, it's like who draws best. Like why should I watch this guy's match?
Well, ideally I would want it to be Israel Adesanya because he's a complete fighter also. Because if he's into anime and he's into manga and stuff like that, so he brings in the audience.
He's really resonating with the young crowd.
Exactly. Like he dances to his fights. That's insane.
And his striking is the angles. Like
he's legit.
Yeah. And I knew about Israel Adesanya before UFC, and it wasn't from Joe Rogan podcast actually. I have this cousin who lives in Hong Kong, and he's a legit kickboxer, but he had the same injury that Michael Bisping had. He faced this guy and he got head kicked, and he's written as detached twice. So now he's just a coach in Hong Kong. So he used to tell me about this guy, like there's this kickboxer guy. You should because I was into boxing, and we used to sometimes talk about I used to talk about boxing and he used to talk about kickboxing, and he was like, yeah, you should watch this Israel Adesanya guy. He's really good. And then I saw some highlights, and his early highlights are like really crazy, man. And I was like, this bony guy can punch, man. Like, and his kick, like, yeah, angle wise, like this guy is on next level.
Yeah, it's like a piston.
Yeah,
It's like a piston. He's
the way he knocked out Whittaker,
oh,
because he was applying that punch every time, but with a different angle, and like when he caught him, ooh,
perfect
yeah.
use of reach.
Yeah,
Perfect use of reach. He because Robert came in with another. He
Yeah,
went back. And
yeah. He was
perfect. Perfect.
but he's trying to get back rematch, right? Whittaker.
Paulo
He's
Costa.
saying-
No. Paulo Costa.
Costa.
Vocacina.
I don't know why he looks like a porn star.
Who is it?
Yoel Ramero doesn't, because he's
Yeah.
a monster.
Dude,
And like maybe
legit boss.
yeah, he's a legit. Hey Dana, I love you, Michael Bisping. You do me that? I see you soon, boy. And now it's his punchline. I see you soon, boy.
I see
Even
you soon,
before Israel, he was like,
I see
I see. Hey, he said, why you say to me thing like that? I see you soon, boy.
Romero won that dance off.
He did.
He did. He won that dance off.
He won that dance.
You were talking
He
about the
killed
dance
it.
of Byra, you know? What you want? What you want?
Yeah. Oh shit. That's another.
It's a Kevin Hart reference.
Kevin Hart.
So I think Adesanya, Masvidal is good. I know he has a good management team behind him who's trying to sell him properly.
Yeah.
I think he needs a win fast, and I think he needs a quick win back over, because he was on a roll before.
He's
met
on a roll,
Usyk.
actually,
Who,
right?
who does he face now? Kobe?
No, actually, he's supposed to. He just faced for the title. Actually, I thought he was supposed to face Kobe. Thought of going back, he might, because World of It event. I think.
Leon Edwards.
I mean, they are still. Gilbert Burns is there, but he's
But he's
busted
getting
for.
the title shot.
Yeah. He's the next guy for sure, because he got ripped because of COVID. But Burns is on a different level. Like he came out of, but I can't say that. But to many people, it felt like he came out of nowhere. Like, who the hell is this guy, Gilbert Burns? But I mean, that's the thing with if you don't, if you're just looking at it casually. But if you really look at the lower bottom of the 10, the top 10s, like there are some real killers. And like we were talking about the same thing on Francis Ngannou last time. Like you were saying, like he's the guy who should face for the title. I agree with that, but I think Francis Ngannou should stick to boxing.
One trick pony.
Yeah, because even his last match, I mean, we were talking about it, the way he was exposing his chin. And even DC was like, "Ooh, you see that chin? You see that chin?" He comes to me like that. I'm gonna knock that ass, boy. And that's true, because not everyone is gonna be scared. And DC has already faced Rumble Johnson, and he knows, and he has seen that Stipe rematch. And if Stipe can do that to Francis, imagine what DC is gonna do.
He's gonna choke.
We're gonna see that slam again, the slam he did to Gustafsson.
Oh my God.
Fall on the head. He can do that to anyone, actually.
And I think I want to see one last time before he retires. I want to see DC and John Jones, but I want to see it at heavyweight.
Yeah, I think that would make more
I think
sense
that
right
things.
now.
I think that makes things a little more level.
Yeah.
I think at heavyweight, DC's wrestling is unstoppable.
Yeah, and the power he carries with himself, because he doesn't have to carry that weight, and he's always been worried about that weight, because it's all about that cake, that cake, and that chicken. So what you're saying is right, because light heavyweight, Mata, I think we know it's 2-0.
There's no.
Although it's the second match to Usbua, come on, we saw that. It was a
Fantastic
fight until that kick.
knockout. But it was a fantastic knockout also.
Yeah.
He kept hitting the body and the body and the body, and then.
And you remember, he warned DC about that thing way back before the first match. This was, I don't remember the pay-per-view, but this was when it was first time DC versus Jones, and the below the card was Conor versus Dustin Poirier.
Oh.
And and they were talking to reporters, and one of them saying, like, do you see any holes in his game, to Jones? And Jones was like, yeah, obviously I have a really good team, and I can see a lot of holes, but there's one hole that I really know. And DC was like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about me leaning to the side when, if he's expecting a shot, that he has this habit of leaning to the side. But that is also because he can go for a takedown. And Jones somehow figured that out. And he said that on the first fight, but he didn't do that. And when he did that on the second fight, I was like, this motherfucker knows his shit. Because he did it when DC wasn't explaining it at all. Because second fight, obviously, DC was pissed. It was like when Jose Aldo just ran for the big haymaker.
John Jones, for me, is the greatest MMA mind that's ever stepped inside the octagon. Because he has figured out ways to defeat people.
He's actually an MMA god, period.
He is an MMA.
Like, if you look at all the levels, evolution like, he was way before. अहिले जुन लेभलमा छ नि प्लेयरहरू, he was there in like 2000 उसको early
Exactly. Exactly. I still remember his Vitor fight where he breaks the arm.
And that was TRT Vitor.
That was TRT Vitor.
That's why Vitor got that arm. Because he would never go for like submission. He's like because And have you seen him recently on his Instagram?
No.
You should see him. He's going because he's going to one, right?
He's back to
one
the
championship.
TRT
Yeah.
Oh,
He's pumped.
Oh.
And even Joe Rogan was talking about it in his post, like, like there are some guys, like some things are made for them, like and TRT is made for people. His body loves it. Like right now he's like all tanned, and he's like 20 years younger. He's like the Vito from the early days,
I have to see this.
It's really crazy.
Wait a minute.
Oh.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
You gotta see that. He has just this one picture, like the selfie यस्तो छ क्या यसको अगाडिबाट खिचेको तर त्यसको त्यो चेस्टको मास हेरेर बुझिन्छ क्या all right we are going somewhere.
Oh, he looks ripped.
Yeah, he's ripped.
1.2 million followers, damn.
He's a phenom, like. Plus, like, this guy has been since forever.
Yeah, it's cool. Okay.
Yeah. And do you know Vitor Belfort, when he came to UFC first time, he was called Victor Gracie.
Why?
He just named himself Gracie because he was a Brazilian.
That's ball.
And wait, I got his name here. Horion Gracie. The elder one. He was like, you can't put your name Gracie because you're not a Gracie. So he came Victor Belfort. He was Victor Belfort then it became Vitor Belfort somewhere down the line.
Okay.
You can see his first fight actually is Victor Belfort.
Oof, middleweight.
This guy was fighting in heavyweight early in his prime, like when he was that cut. But he's going through like serious transformation right now.
Vitor Belfort.
Because that picture is, I think, a bit before COVID-19 because we learned that he signed up because he was retired, and there was like talk like he might go to Belfort. Look at him, he looks different.
Pumped.
Yep, and like you can see on his face, like he glows up.
All that TRT.
Yeah, he loves it. Plus, I think it's believed that, I don't know how true is that, but look at him. See, that's what I'm talking. Look at the chest, like he's gaining some mass right now.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like a middleweight anymore.
No.
He's close to being a light heavyweight. He's ripped.
Another fighter back in shape.
Yep.
Speaking of which, Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson.
But people are sleeping on Roy Jones Jr., my favorite.
So, मलाई चाहिँ Roy Jones Jr. को बारेमा त्यति थाहा छैन, right? I'm a little, but I there's a channel on YouTube called World of Boxing. Yeah, right. So anybody who likes boxing.
Yeah, or there's another one, Hancho Boxing. That's a really good channel because that guy is he works. I think he's a photographer, but he's in the boxing media actually. He's like an Ariel Havani guy who's always there.
Damala.
Ariel Havani. His Janta doesn't want to know. He lets the Janta know on his own. He's not so curious about his Janta. Like Janta is chill. Janta doesn't give a shit, bitch.
Yeah. So he's the Ariel Havani of.
Hanjo boxing media. But he's a good media person.
So World of Boxing, right?
Yeah.
So I saw Sugar Ray Leonard's like career history yesterday. Usko fights. Damn, he fought this guy, Tommy Hill.
Yeah.
Tommy Hill.
That was way back.
That's way back, right? And even for someone to move that fast and technically that good.
That's why he's called Sugar.
That's why he's called.
Because he's sweet as sugar.
So I know I don't know. मलाई चाहिँ फेरि रोय जोन्स जुनियरको बारेमा चाहिँ त्यति थाहा भएन, which is unfortunate. I need to. But
it's never too late.
You tell me about.
Did you know like he only retired in 2018?
Whoa.
He's been fighting
How old
forever. He is as old as Mike, I think.
He's
I don't know.
53?
Kind of, yeah. They're similar age. It's just that he was fighting light heavyweight, so he was never on top like Mike Tyson.
He has 50 knockouts.
45 knockouts.
45 knockouts.
And his record is 74, I think. 74, and I think 9 losses.
Okay.
That's something like that.
Right.
But he was like way ahead. Like I think you saw the highlights last time I was seeing you. He has this one punch KO highlight. Like he's just taunting with the guy, and he has his band like both hands on back, and he's in the ropes like, hey, come here, and then boom, and lights out.
Why do you think Mike Tyson is fighting someone this competitive?
Exhibition match, like.
No, but I think they'll go in.
Yeah, obviously, and
I think they both are going to go in.
I saw Roy Jones' interview, and he was like, he's a bit worried actually, because obviously physically he's a light heavyweight and he's a heavyweight with that mean ass power. It's not like Roy Jones Jr. is not strong or like that. But people are sleeping on him. But that's also like, it's gonna be interesting. That's why.
Also because it's Mike Tyson.
Yeah, because obviously it's Mike Tyson. Like.
Also, it's the toad wala Mike Tyson.
Oh, he's the DMT Tyson, yeah. And the way he came out, like you remember the interview, it's like the war of gods have awakened within me, and I'm back. And I was like, fuck.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's how I think he is. Also.
He's that's the way. That's the way he is.
So how do you see this fight going?
It's hard to tell, like ekdamai, because personally I love Roy Jones Jr.
Will it be competitive? Do you think they'll go in?
It will be competitive because both of, like I said, Roy Jones Jr. was fighting till 2018. Even though you can't call them that, they are old, but like they are not like normal old guys. They've been fighting like. I'm just worried for Tyson because. Ekdamai gap लेते नि त because you remember the time he used to say like I don't do training nowadays because it awakens that ego within him and he doesn't like that person.
He said it on Rogan's podcast.
Yeah. He said actually that on many podcasts actually like अहिले अलि एकदम ओपन छ नि त like open book हुन खोजिरहेछ नि त. That's actually really good बिचरा. टेरी एटलसको podcast याद छ त?
Yeah.
I think अहिलेको टिलले एकदम intense podcast का.
Oh. Teddy Atlas's podcast?
Mike Tysonको पहिलाको कोच का.
Yeah. Where was he? Oh, when he was on Rogan, yeah.
Yeah, Rogan wala. Oh, his record is like what, 50-6? Nah, he's 0-6. I mean, yeah, 6-1.
The idea of having Mike Tyson back at 53, saying, Costo, you want it, but
that's
at
not the
same
first time he's back. Sorry.
No, that's what I mean. He's done it so many times.
Yeah.
Plus now he's a lot older than he used to.
Yeah.
Like, his body is of course not going to move as fast.
The only thing good I say in it is पहिला चाहिँ when he was doing this exhibition match पहिला नि गरेको थियो हैन, he wasn't happy about it. He had to do because he was broke. He was like he had no money. He was like bankruptcy नै उले claim गरेको थियो हैन. So त्यतिखेर चाहिँ त्यो सिचुएसन थियो नि त. But now he's in a good place mentally, physically नि. So let's see.
That's true. I think he wins. I think Mike Tyson wins.
He always has that.
Usko, if anybody follows his podcast also, you know that he talks very in depth now in terms of fighting, mostly fighting. Also because he's seen a lot of film on fighting because of Costamato.
He was the first. Actually, he's one of the first guy in boxing पनि who brought me. किन उसको टाइममा एकदम मिडिया थियो नि त. He's one of the guy who brought Dempsey, Jack Dempseyहरूलाई नि लाइमलाइटमा ल्यायो के मान्छेले. Because he was like तपाईँले भन्नु नि, he was studying films all his life as a kid.
मैले हिजो मात्र डेम्सीको फिल्म हेरेको थिएँ माइन्ड स्म्याशमा. He brought back the Dempsey role भन्ने कुरा पनि थियो.
I would like to recommend you another guy there. Jack Johnson.
Of course.
The boxer.
Not the
ultimate. Can't you see that?
It's just bam!
Bam! What that Jack Johnson was. The true meaning of a thug.
He was way ahead of his time. He was the pioneer. Like he was the heel.
Yeah.
He was the
ultimate heel. And he knew what he was doing and he was proud of it. He was like, deal with it.
He's
He's
the black nature boy.
Yeah.
Woo! He went out with white women, which was unheard of.
Forbidden actually, because they wouldn't allow it.
Jack Johnson was.
But he was like, shit, I'm the super power. And he was like brute powerful. It was like, but ending, very sad ending. They got him when he was old.
I forget.
Because he was like an undefeated guy in the like because त्यतिखेरको matchहरु त्यस्तो उस थिएन नि त. It used to happen, and they were always behind him, because he was this one guy. त्यो White Hope भन्छ नि त अमेरिकन. त्यही टाइमको हो कि यो कुरा चाहिँ. The Great White Hope भन्ने के. बक्सिङमा उनीहरुले एउटा हेभीवेट च्याम्पियन चाहिएको के white guy, because Jack Johnson was this black guy who was like taking all the women, has taken the title.
So who eventually came? Rocky Marciano? Who was the white?
I don't know actually. Man, so probably remember. Just it was like he was old.
Probably Dempsey.
No, not Dempsey.
Did Dempsey come after Jack Johnson?
I think Dempsey are way before that.
Before Jack Johnson?
Yeah, they are. I think I'm not sure.
I'm all over the place now. It's pretty strong.
It's coming down. It's coming down. G3 song, I think. It's going down, down. Because it's G3.
That is one of the best versions I've ever heard of Going Down.
Yeah.
I still remember Steve Vai's solo. Oh.
Actually, that was the first song and the video I saw of G3. Like, what?
Just beautiful. The phrasing is so beautiful. And any G3 without Yngwie Malmsteen is good.
He said it better.
Yeah, because
it's like what Ansem said. I don't give a fuck about your legs. It's like guitar nerd shit.
That's because also he butchered a Little Wing co-performance for G3.
I have heard about it, but I haven't seen the performance.
It's one of the worst. It should be on Pornhub. That guitarist fucks up solo.
Oh, because we've seen those memes like it was intense 4 minutes of fingering.
It was exactly on the Little Wing jam track. He went like full on shredding neoclassical, and then right after him was Joe Satriani, and then the music stops at dang 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 dang, and Joe Satriani goes da 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 da, and just kills everything he's played for the last 4 minutes. But it's my preference. People can like Yngwie Malmsteen. He's a talented guy, just not for me. Not my taste right now. Yeah, that's all. So, speaking of bloated 80s people, the idea of having boxers return, and do you know George Foreman is also talking about coming back?
Yeah.
And George Foreman can still hit.
He's always been that guy. Like there was I don't know, is it a myth or a truth? Like he knocked out a mule with his punch.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
I think that myth became so true in the ring that I think it just became true. Yeah. He might have done that.
The way he was knocking out guys, like it was like
he was doing that at 50.
Yeah, and the way he came back and won the heavyweight champion. And you know he had the best defense, his chin. He would just stand there, come on. He was like, stop tackling me.
That just makes Muhammad Ali so much great.
Yeah, the way at the time when he beat him.
That was the Thriller in Manila?
No.
Rumble in Jungle. If there's if you've made it this far in the podcast, I'm guessing you are a fight fan. So I'd recommend you go watch the Rumble in the Jungle, man.
It's like watching a movie. Actually, Muhammad Ali ko matchहरु सबै हेर्ने it's like a movie.
Yeah.
जुन त्यो storyline जस्तै भएको matchहरु के.
Till his last fight.
Yeah.
Till his last.
And the way he used to hype the fights, Sonny Liston को पछाडी पुरा like he went, oh man, no one expected that, like way before.
He's so mad. I was listening to the Jim Cornette podcast, right?
Papa did.
So he actually talked there about how Muhammad Ali always used to credit that he got his speaking skills from Gorgeous George. But that's a popular myth because what actually happened is Muhammad Ali actually saw Freddie Blassie on his television, but he thought that was Gorgeous George, and then later on he just said Gorgeous George. But but when he met Freddie Blassie, he said, "No, it's you I saw. It's you I took all the..." Because Freddie Blassie back in the 50s and the 40s ko TV was huge in LA. अब मान्छेलाई थाहा छैन होला Freddie Blassie अहिले हैन. I'm just going on and on. Freddie Blassie चाहिँ अब मैले wrestling हेर्दाखेरि he was just going out. He was old त्यति बेला चाहिँ, तर always very very हुन्छ नि mean looking and stuff. हुन्छ नि never liked him as a kid. And then and then I realized he's this huge legend, and he had the gimmick of the vampire. And they used to tell me that when he told stories of, he used to sharpen his teeth, like to make it look like a vampire.
This guy with the edge one?
I know. That's Gangrel. No, he was doing this in the 50s.
50s?
In the 1950s. He would go to Japan after the war, where there would be wrestling events against Ricky Dozen.
Okay.
Ricky Dozen भनेको चाहिँ Japanese wrestling को founder, pioneer, and he used to wrestle Ricky Dozen, and they said that he would bite Ricky Dozen on the back of the neck, and it would start a riot in the Tokyo Dome.
Damn.
There was still the Tokyo Dome and stuff. So yeah, man, that's very brassy. Anyway, so Muhammad Ali got a lot from wrestling. Actually, he picked up a lot of things. This promo skills, man. I know.
We have to agree that
You have to talk about tie this back into what we're talking about. What you asked is, who is the next star? Who do you think is the next star? Because he has to have promo skills too.
True. In a cult way, I see Masvidal because he's always been there. He's like this. He has this cult following, like the Diaz brothers, and like because he's a real guy thing. But to be honest, like the guy I see who should be sold is Stipe Miocic. Because I don't think it gets more legit than that. That guy is a firefighter.
He's a legit lifesaver.
Yeah, he's a legit lifesaver, and he kicks ass for
For a living.
For a living. And like, how can you not sell that? And he's the only guy who's defended the title 3 times and has gone on a 4th match. Although he lost, but he again has reclaimed it. I mean, how can you define greatness more than that? But I don't know.
So तिनीहरूले जुन hype गरिरहेछ नि, they're calling this DC versus Miocic third is for the throne of the greatest heavyweight of all time. Is that right?
For this modern era, yeah. I think अहिलेको एरामा त
Ken Velasquez?
Nah, बिचार. Always feel sorry for that guy. Too many injuries. Because the way he has his condition, like too much injuries there. तर he could have, had it been अहिलेसम्म त्यो भएको भए चाहिँ there's no doubt DC चाहिँ तलै हुन्थ्यो, त्यो केन नै हुन्थ्यो क्या, केन भेलास्केज नै हुन्थ्यो.
Because they would never face each other.
No, never.
They're from the same camp. Yeah, AK. Yeah, man. It's getting hot. Yeah, man.
We were talking about like Tokyo Dome, so it just clicked me like Japan is really, really rich in a lot of martial art, and it has a lot of history. And did you know Jiu-Jitsu was originally from Japan?
It was the guy who came to Brazil.
Yeah.
And he taught. And
it was
then
actually students who went there.
Oh, okay.
So I actually had a note.
He's got notes, people.
Yeah.
He's got his reading glasses out.
Prepared. Not glasses. So yeah, I just saw this amazing document. I'll send you a link by tonight. Like it happened after the feudal system ended in Japan. Like yeah, there was wrestling because wrestling has been the oldest sport. But and that was a time like modernization was heating up. अनि feudal system end भएपछि चाहिँ जापानमा चाहिँ सामुराईहरु त्यो fall भयो के. अनि सामुराईहरुकोमा चाहिँ actually they were the guys who were using jiu-jitsu. उनीहरुकोमा चाहिँ they didn't have a, I think, definite name, but jiu-jitsu चाहिँ कसरी युज गर्न्थ्यो नि त्यो when they were उनीहरुको arms हुन्थेन नि to defend themselves with an arm rope हुन्छ नि त्यो हतियार फाल्नको लागि disarm them कस्तो brain fart. So yeah, अनि so Jigoro Kano, actually he is the first guy उ चाहिँ मार्शल आर्टिस्ट भन्दा नि रिसर्चर क्या. he was a researcher अनि उले चाहिँ जापानमा भएको पुरानो मार्शल आर्ट सबै थियो नि सब रिसर्च गरेछ के. अनि त्यो टाइममा चाहिँ उले सिक्दै पनि गयो. अनि यतिसम्म उ फेमस भएको रे कि लाइक ऊ आफूले नि सिक गर्दै जान्थ्यो. अनि लाइक ओल्ड मास्टर्सहरू उसलाई सिक गर्न थाल्यो क्या. बिकज देयर वाज नो वान लर्निङ द एन्सियन्ट मार्सल आर्ट्स. सो दे वर पिपुलै थिएन अरे क्या मास्टरसँग. सो दे ह्याड टु पास अन द्याट थिङ नि त. सो जिगरो कानो वाज द गाई. अनि अकर्डिङ टु हिम उसले चाहिँ के रियलाइज गर्यो भने जापानको त्यो जुन जिजित्सु थियो नि अर्ली इ वाज दुईवटा क्याटेगोरी थियो अरे क्या. नागेवाजा अनि काटामेवाजा. नागेवाजा चाहिँ लाइक जुडो थ्रोइङ अनि काटामेवाजा चाहिँ ग्राप्लिङ. बट दिस गाई वाज मोर इन्ट्रेस्टेड इन नागेवाजा थ्रोइङमा चाहिँ. अनि बिकज हि हिमसेल्फ वाज अ लिटल गाई विज टु गेट बुलेड. अनि उसलाई पनि त्यही क्या लाइक the gentle way he could defend himself. So that went on. And history गइरह्यो. And this was the time when people were challenging themselves for martial art, like who is like exhibition matches थियो क्या. अनि I found out कि ब्राजिलमा चाहिँ जस वाइल्ड हुन्थ्यो त्यस्तो म्याचहरू, किनभने दे आर अल्सो रिच. अनि त्यो टाइममा चाहिँ क्यापोएरा भर्खर इन्भेन्ट भइरहेको रहेछ यता जापानमा जिजित्सु जब इभल्भ भइरहेको थियो नि. अनि दे युज टु हेभ म्याचेस इन सर्कसमा त्यो रिङमा हुन्छ नि त, त्यो रोपको रिङमा त्यहाँ लाइक रेस्लिङ म्याचहरू नि, सुट म्याचहरू. अनि इट वाज कल लुचा लिब्रे समथिङ लाइक द्याट, लुटा लिब्रे. अनि लुटा लिब्रे चाहिँ इज रेस्लिङ बट नट स्क्रिप्टेड. So yeah, grappling, basically grappling. So that went on. And Japan को जुन जिजित्सु जब ब्राजिलमा आयो नि, जापानबाट नि त्यो वारको भिक्टिमहरू चाहिँ अब इमिग्रेट भएर उता पुगेर रहेछ. अनि उता अब उनीहरूलाई ग्रेसी फ्यामिलीले हेल्प गरेर रहेछ कि, नट ग्रेसी एक्चुअली, इलियो ग्रेसी, हि वाज द फर्स्ट गाई हु हेल्प देम. अनि त्यही हो, ग्रेसी फ्यामिलीसँग त्यसै एफिलिएटेड भएर एन्ड दे टट हिम. अनि फेरि ग्रेसीहरू पनि खतरा. अनि दे हेभ टु मेक इट दे ओन साइन नि त. अनि उनीहरूले चाहिँ सेकेन्ड एस्पेक्टमा वर्कआउट गरेर रहेछ क्या. जुडोले चाहिँ थ्रोइङ मात्र गऱ्यो, उनीहरूले चाहिँ यो त हेरेकै छैन नि त, लाइक ग्राप्लिङ कुराहरू क्या ग्राउन्डमा क्या. सो वेन एभर जापान एन्ड ब्राजिल युज टु फाइट, इट युज टु बी लाइक ब्राङ उडुङ फालिदिन्थ्यो अरे क्या जापानिजहरूले, ब्राजिलियनहरूलाई ब्राङ उडुङ हुत्ताइदिने रहेन. अनि भुइँमा गएपछि चाहिँ फेरि ब्राजिलियनको पालो अरे क्या. सो इट वाज अलवेज लाइक अ ड्र, त्यस्तो हुन्थ्यो क्या. सो या एन्ड द्याट्स. अनि पछि चाहिँ इभेन्चुअली वेन दे केम टु अमेरिका, एन्ड त्यो टाइममा चाहिँ होरियन ग्रेसी was throwing off this 100K match. Like they had perfected Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. उनीहरूले डेभलप गरेको थियो नि त. So they feel like this is really good. So उनीहरूले चाहिँ दो उसँग छैन 100,000, तर उसले चाहिँ त्यो एउटा च्यालेन्ज राखेको क्या. Anyone can come fight with my family member, and if you win, you get 100,000. Or if you last, I think 15 minutes, then you can get $500, something that was like that. And everyone, and UFC को स्टोरी चाहिँ त्यसरी जोड्यो हो त. Because they saw that ad in a Playboy magazine. And defense guy, अब त्यो जुन मान्छेले भेटेको चाहिँ I was just scrolling around. Like, yeah, old guy, just looking like, yeah, you would look for articles on a Playboy magazine, yeah.
Plumber को नम्बर छैन.
लाइक कता थियो यार, तरकारी मगाउनु पर्ने थियो. कति भएछ सुनको भाउ आज.
So that's how this came from a Playboy ad.
Yeah. It was
where you got the idea from.
Yeah. Because अब उनीहरूसँग त्यस्तो like they were promoting themselves the way they can. And somehow it ended up in a Playboy magazine, and this guy saw it, so he went to Horan Gracie and he said like, let's do it. अनि होरेन ग्रेसीलाई त्यो आइडिया भइरहेको रहेछ क्या. उसले चाहिँ जिममा गर्थ्यो नि त त्यो म्याचहरू. अनि अब उसको स्टुडेन्टहरूले वाइल्ड साथीहरू लिएर आउँथ्यो क्या. अनि त्यसलाई नि रमाइलो लागेर ल अब पिपल आर इन्ट्रेस्टेड इन वाचिङ रियल फाइट्स नि त, लाइक अरू थाहै छैन नि त के हुन्छ भनेर. सो यो लाइक लेट्स डु इट बिगर. And he was looking for a partner to bloom, and it came up.
It's the story of jiu-jitsu thing about it's taken over the world, man. Everybody wants to do jiu-jitsu everywhere.
After it came to America, actually, because
that's the place you have to go.
Yeah.
To make it global.
To make it global.
It is what it is.
If world is a country, America is the capital.
100% agree. 100% agree. Now that it's evident that we'll be doing this more. Yeah. We might do a watch along.
We should
do a watch along and a YouTube live stream garera, and maybe watch Khabib Vs Gaethje.
Let's do that. That's why didn't we talk about that fight?
We just didn't come up. So Justin versus, how do you see that going?
Khabib.
How do you see that going?
I see, like, for the first time,
he's in danger.
He's in danger. Not really in danger, but
he could be in danger.
He could be in danger because this guy, like Justin Gaethje पनि UFCमा इभल्भ भएको मान्छे क्या. First he was like interview लिँदाखेरि he was like, I only have like 4 or 5 fights in me. That's it. And I'll be done. Banging गर्दै जान्छु. But then something happened. त्यो जब सेकेन्ड म्याच हार्यो नि, पहिला 80 सँग हार्यो, अनि सेकेन्ड पोरियरसँग हारेपछि चाहिँ something happened. He became very.
I think you got Abdulaziz after that.
Could be. That asshole.
The manager.
He's actually a mob guy in the MMA community.
I'm sure. He's the mafia. Yeah. He pulls a lot of strings. Justin is also a NCAA champion. NCAA being, of course, the amateur wrestling of America, North American. So he can grapple also, but can he grapple like Khabib can grapple?
He actually has said that he's not an offensive grappler. He's more like a defensive. It's not like that's why you don't see him shooting takedowns because he's not that kind of guy. It's not like Yoel Ramero, like because Yoel is so confident in his wrestling, he never thinks about shooting or like scrambling.
Why? Why?
Punch in your face.
Can you please shoot for one takedown?
Because he's that confident. Like you can't do anything. Like, you can't do shit to me on the ground. So he's like, let's fight. You know, like, hey, hey, Della, I come for you. Eh? Give me Michael.
Michael Bisping. Soon, boy, Michael Bisping.
Steroid.
Yeah. Gaethje's wrestling.
Yeah, Gaethje is like a defensive wrestler. So, अनि खबिबको like एडी ब्राले जुन लुप त्यसको थाहा पाएँ नि त्यसको एउटा गेमको होल चाहिँ खबिब इज अलवेज गोइङ फर द केज क्या उसको टेक डाउन भनेको एभ्रिथिङ इज फर द्याट केज क्या इज एमिङ फर द्याट केज अनि इफ अ गाई इज रियली गुड एन्ड क्यान टाइम हुन्छ नि मेन त अब आई थिङ्क रेस्लिङमा डिफेन्सिभको चाहिँ टाइमिङ हो नि त दे रियली हेभ गुड टाइमिङ त्यो सुटको लागि होइन सो इफ अ गाई इज रियली लोडेड अन द्याट एन्ड हिट्स लाइक अ ट्रक देन खबिब बिकज खबिब हेज होल्स इन स्ट्यान्डअप एकदम अनअर्थोडक्स टाइपको स्ट्यान्डअप होइन त्यो पनि खत्रै छ तर गेची इज लाइक मोर प्रिसाइज अनि अहिले एकदम काम एन्ड हि हेज रियलाइज लाइक आई क्यान यु नो पुट दिस लाइट वेट गाइज इन्टु नेक्स्ट
Orbit.
yeah next orbit.
I think Gaethje can do it.
Yeah.
I think Gaethje can. 100% Khabib is going to go for a takedown. 100%, right? And when he goes for the takedown, what can Gaethje do on his back and how can he scramble with him will dictate. And if by any chance they knew, because a lot of times kasto pani huncha bhane when you have two people who have opposing like skills that are equal, they'll just negate it and then they'll just end up banging in the middle of the ground.
Because they know like the tall over the gate, like you know your levels. It's just like error matro, but and then you have more chances on your stand up. But Khabib मलाई नि त्यही लागेको छ इज स्ट्रेट गर्न गो फर टेक डाउन बिकज अब रेस्ट इन पिस इज द्याट पास्ट अवे होइन अनि डु यु नो देयर इन एके देयर इज वान टिम कोड क्या खबिबको लागि चाहिँ द्याट गेम प्ले हो कि द्याट प्लान हो कि द्याट्स प्लान हो त्यो एउटा छ कि उसको लागि त्यो एउटा वर्ड क्या बिकज फादर्स प्लान लाइक गो टु यर फादर स्टाइल समथिङ लाइक द्याट या बिकज एन्ड वेन ही डज द्याट एन्ड खबिब क्लिक्स लाइक
Yeah, I think he did this in Connor's fight, funny, where he was banging with Connor, and then he said, "No, Khabib, come on, father's time."
In most of the fight, if he like, because Khabib also wants to knock people out, maybe. So when he gets reckless, and then you can see he's like Connor, like, "Hey, Khabib, come on, father's time," and then he just snaps, like turns into this mauling bear. But let's see that. But what's left to see is we haven't seen Justin Gaethje on the ground too. We just know that he's a really good defensive wrestler, but is he skilled like Tony?
I don't know. Because I think we all keep saying that yes, there is. I think Michael Bisping lecture banaya. He said there is city level. He said there is city level, regional level, national level, right? There's international level, and then there is Olympic level. And he said there are levels to this game. Like there are serious levels to this game. And I think even in wrestling there is a Dagestani level, which and just Hizo, Shimaev.
Oh, rat face,
rat lip.
That guy.
Yeah. He is the Dana White is going money.
And the killers they are like हुन्छ नि दागिस्तानबाट निस्किरहेकोहरू क्या अहिलेको रिसेन्ट झन् युएफसीले कति साइन गरे नि त अहिले खबिब ब्लुम भएदेखि दे आर लाइक सब खबिब जस्तै हुन्छ नि 2.0 खबिबको लेट्स मल I want this messy brother. Hey brother, come on, don't speak to me like that.
त्यसले रिचार्ज बेचिरहेछ कि मार्न आइरहेछ थाहा हुँदैन ब्रदर
Different guy is Zabit, eh?
Yes.
He is like Bruce Lee. Dagestani Bruce Lee.
Yeah. Dagestani.
That guy can strike, and when he goes to the ground, he's pulling submission like
that rolling knee bar.
Like how, when?
So good. What time are we on this? Okay. I think we can successfully close down the shop. Yeah. It's at 54 minutes.
Damn. Okay.
You've contributed to at least 30 of it.
Thank you so much. I would like to thank myself. Somebody's gonna learn today.
We have to. We need to do this again and do a Kevin Hart special the next time.
We'll have more topics next time.
We'll have more topics next time. Plus, I think next time we're gonna do a watch along.
Yeah, sure. I would love that.
Somewhere in October, we'll October 24th. I think the fight is. Right?
24 October.
So maybe we can find maybe at Beers and Chairs somewhere we can just sit down and just watch the game and just bullshit and do live stream this. Fantastic, man. I loved it. I don't know what we talked about today, but it was good.
Same with that. I have no fucking clue what we did, but it was amazing fun.
It's gonna be fun editing this or trying to edit.
Thank you so much for
Thanks so much, man. Hey, thanks for listening in. If you made it this far, you're a legend. If not, it's okay. Till then, episode 2 is all about UFC. Episode 3, I have no clue about, but I'll let you all know pretty soon.
Make sure to subscribe to ASMpod.
The ASMpod, there you go. I'm going to use that soundbite. Till then, see ya. Bye-bye, everybody.
Good night.